I mean, my one thing I always say is just do it, freaking do it. Like, I think fear is the biggest thing. One is just do it. And then two is time is obviously the greatest enemy. Spend an hour every evening, 1 hour, and just do bits and pieces, even if it takes a year to launch. I mean, better doing an hour in the evening than not doing anything at all. That's what I got.
As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The next best time is right now. Welcome to Beyond the Business Plan. I'm Lyon, your guide on this journey to success. We will explore the inspiring stories of visionary leaders and groundbreaking entrepreneurs and unveil the tools and strategies that can empower you to manage your business from anywhere in the world. Join me, LeAnn, as we learn, laugh, and take the leap towards unleashing your joyful business journey. And let's make it happen now. My guest today is the founder of Copy Fluent and a messaging strategist who's spent over a decade in the advertising world working with award-winning agencies and brands. Daniel Heuer made the entrepreneurial leap to create Copy Fluent with a mission that really resonates with what we talk about here, helping founders, creators, and business owners find their authentic voice and communicate with clarity, with confidence, and with, most importantly, originality. What I love about Daniel's approach is his focus on turning big ideas into what he calls bold human words that actually move people to action. Born in Germany, Daniel grew up in Texas and now lives in Pittsburgh, where he enjoys playing guitar and drums, playing soccer, and preparing his new home for his new family. Daniel, are you there?
I sure am. Hi.
Daniel, how are you?
Very great.
Wonderful. Copy Fluent, what an innovative name. Where did you come up with that?
Well, it all comes from the idea of copywriting, right? So copy is that text, that messaging that, sells and connects. I wanted that in there, and the fact that we need to be fluent at it. It just kind of came to me, and big bonus, the domain was available. So it all worked out nicely.
So you didn't use AI and say, hey, give me 5 ideas for my new business name?
Not this time, actually, this all came about in 2020 and AI was not very prevalent back then. So
Not very,
I
no.
had to do it myself.
Yeah, well, that is definitely going to be something we talk about today, because what you are doing with copywriting and the world of AI, there seems to be a potential clash. So I'd love to dive into how do you navigate that. But for our listeners, what we are usually here talking about is really Daniel's journey as an entrepreneur. You heard that he was with major corporations. In fact, while we were getting ready for today, you said you were with 4 different organizations, I think, in the Dallas, Texas area before jumping into entrepreneurship. So what made you take that leap?
Well, it's something I feel I've always been sort of entrepreneurial. My parents are the same way. It was a big reason why we came to the United States in the first place.
Oh.
So, being your own boss has always been something that resonated with me, something that I always kind of dreamed of. So it'd been in the works for a while as I was working with different brands and agencies already, but I think the time came where I just really wanted to commit and really try to make something work.
Why not do it right at the start? Why go to work for other people if you had that kind of calling in the first place? Just curious, not a judgment.
Of course, of course. It's tough and it's scary, right? And I wasn't sure, about it in the very beginning. I did, after school working at an agency was also, a dream of mine. It's such a fun environment. You do so many creative things. So it's definitely something I wanted to try, and I did love it. And I do love it. I mean, there's so many great companies out there and agencies doing amazing work. So being part of that is also huge. But I think now that some time has passed and I've maybe not seen it all, done it all, but I've done enough and I've worked in enough of those places that I felt ready to kind of really start.
Oh, I love that. When you said all that creativity and the fun and things like that, I really hadn't thought of it because I came from a world of teaching and business where it wasn't so much creative and fun. I mean, I had autonomy inside of my own classroom and to make it fun or somewhat creative, although I was teaching math. I mean, come on.
I was gonna say it might depend on what you're teaching. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. But we had fun, but I also had a lot of structure in my classroom. But you do hear about places, in back in the day when Google was fresh and new and Apple, and you'd hear about, their creative teams and that they would have ping pong tournaments and beanbag rooms and all the kind of stuff. Is that the kind of stuff you're talking about that you've experienced? Or what did you mean by that with those agencies?
Sure. I mean, I would say that's definitely part of it. It's definitely a lot of agencies do provide a fun environment because
Ah,
the work can be challenging. The work can go very quickly, and there's gonna be times where I would maybe not miserable, but it's gonna be tough. So the days that you do have a bit of extra time, they want to provide you with games and things, and then beyond that, just real quick, I would say, I think it's more laid back, less corporate. Usually, I think you see a lot of that. And again, I think it's just because you do work so hard that they don't want to give you more red tape, and they want to make sure you have room to collaborate and work creatively. And I think that environment lends itself to having a little fun.
cool. So I kind of heard two things there. So I want to clarify. On the one side, you said you work really hard, understand that part. But I thought I heard you also saying that sometimes you just maybe didn't have so much to do. And that's when you needed more the something else to do that was fun and creative?
Yeah, I think the thing about probably advertising as a whole, it's really not a straight line in terms of we have a consistent amount of work each and every day. It's very, we're kicking off this massive project today. It's going to be full force for the next 2 months. It's going to be crazy, all this stuff. But then when we wrap up, then there's a little bit of time to recover and breathe, and then you have a little downtime after that. Yeah.
So even during that recover and breathe time, though, you still had to say punch the clock.
Well, sure. And I mean, there's always multiple things going on, but some things are going to be easier than others. Some things are
Sure.
going to be more intense, of course. So it is kind of a constant up and down a little bit of how crazy things might get.
Well, so now you are an entrepreneur. Is it still the same way? Still the up and down? Still the push and relax?
Well, since it's such early days, it's all a little crazy right now. I have to, build so many things and, constantly try to get new leads and things like that. It is definitely very early days. I haven't seen the success of it all yet. I've seen little successes, thank goodness, but there's still a ton of work to do, and it is definitely very busy right now. But maybe one day it'll be a little bit more like that.
So you said, though, you started this in 2020. We're recording in 2025. It's been 5 years. You are also saying it's early days. So dive into that a little bit because I think when people start a business, on average, they do wait 6 to 18 months before they launch, from when they first get the idea. But that doesn't mean they're successful at the get-go either.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying about not being completely ready to go full force commitment with it. That was really when I was still working with the agencies and doing a lot of outside things where either I didn't have the time to fully, do as much as I should have done, or I just had to put it on the back burner for a while because more important things were happening, and you have to make a living and all that good stuff. But now that I'm fully on my own, is that's why I mean early days. It's really been the last 2 or so months, maybe 3 months that I've really hit hard. And so yeah, all the building stage is definitely now.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So, you've been on your own. This is your full time now. So we know about 41% of people have a dream of being an entrepreneur. Some of us know it at very early ages, like I did. Sounds like you did as well. And other people discover it maybe even midlife or later. But only 6 to 9% are actually like paying taxes as self-employed.
Mhm.
Wow, that leaves a lot of people in between, and you were in that in between space for, well, most of your life realistically, but since 2020 when you decided to start it up, how long until you became more fully invested into making it happen?
I mean, I think, it was that the last few years, like I said, it's been little touches, little things, but I haven't really done very much with it. I had a few clients on the side fairly consistently, and I did, set up my LLC and everything. So I was paying some taxes and I worked with agencies under an independent contractor kind of label. So I was able to do that all through the business in that way. But yeah, now is the time where I'm fully in the mode of trying to get right now as many clients as I can, take on, the ones that I think, it goes both ways, right? I'm looking right now just ramping up, but it has to be clients that have a business model in place, clients that are looking to do something like this and believe in the power of messaging the way that I do, which hopefully they do. I think it's a big key to their success. But yeah, so I'm not in a position where I can fully pick and choose just yet, but I'm working to get there.
Excellent. Well, it really is a big step in a business when you feel like you can. Like when you can niche it down to say, this is who I really serve. And not only that, but actually niche it down to even personalities. Like this is who I want to specifically work with. Not, so, with Joyminder, we say that we work with burned out professionals. But if you want to send me a burned out teacher versus a burned out lawyer, I'm going to have a little more rapport with the burned out teacher. Because thankfully, I haven't spent too much time needing to talk to lawyers in my life. I thought at church one day, I like, hey, this would be really fun to start a small group for empty nested women because I was fairly newly empty nested at the time. So I mentioned it to a few people. And one woman's like, oh, I have the perfect person for you to talk to. And she made an introduction for me. And she came over to my house and spent the next 3 hours on my couch crying about how much she missed her kids. And I thought, okay, let's be a little more clear about the empty nesters that I would want to have in this group. Like, I want to have a group of happy empty nesters that are looking forward to their new freedoms and new capabilities. I wanted people who were excited about and ready to embrace their new things. So that's an example of niching as well. Do you help your clients with that?
That makes sense. So as of right now, because it's, in those smaller stages, it's been a lot of ghostwriting for things that they kind of already know that they need.
Okay.
I had a client in Chicago. He has a really interesting business model, actually. He tries to deter shoplifting and vandalism for, stores and warehouses and things like that. But he does it through an online database that you could upload a police report and photo, and it kind of publicly shames the person to kind of try to deter them from doing it again, basically, because there's so much struggle with trying to get police out there, and there's really no resolution most of the time, so it's tough, on
Yeah.
both sides. So it's this interesting business model, and he's working with an agency as well, but he needed some help, with some press releases and some email marketing and things like that. So it's very small on my side, but I'm able to lean into his voice and what the agency is doing and use my experience in those areas to form like an email journey for clients that I think will be a bit more engaging than what he's got. And then the press releases, of course, try to get him as much pickup from media outlets as he can get. So I did that a long time ago as well. So, but in
Beautiful.
the future, I'm hoping to be more for newer founders and startups who need a lot of work, like their story as a whole, their website, their positioning, like how do you want to appear to your customers and things like that. Like that's where like a bulk package of an identity almost is what I'd like to create.
I love it. And I can speak from experience, as can you. For anybody listening, thinking about starting up a business, and you're like, well, I don't know what to do. These are some of the things you have to do. And yeah, they're not easy, especially if you have to do it from scratch. And
Very true.
maybe writing, especially good copywriting, isn't your forte. So that is obviously why somebody like Daniel can really come in and help you. I know I have spent, oh, so many hours, long weekends even, like creating, like you said, a customer journey, even for this podcast, right? So, there's emails for before we record, after we record, before we launch, after we launch episodes, and so on. And what do I put into it so it's not just the same message all the time, but actually an opportunity to grow with my guests, to know each other better. So it's a it's definitely a craft, and it's great to have somebody who understands that to work with as well.
Yeah, and I've received some of your emails. They're looking really good. So
Okay.
you're in good shape.
Well, okay. I have to say I was a little nervous mentioning it because I am talking to a copywriter. And, I'll confess, for me and where I'm at, I was using some AI. So we're going to talk about that when we come right back. We're going to dive more into this with Daniel Heuer, and we will get you all of his contact information. Of course, you can find it right below here as well. So hang in here.
Hey, sales setters, are you ready to jumpstart your entrepreneurial journey or give your business a powerful refresh? Join us at the next Restart Your Business Summit, where you'll discover the tools, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive. Learn more at joyminder.com. That's JOYMINDER.com, and look for the Restart Your Business Summit. Don't miss out. Your future business awaits.
Back. And we're back with my guest today, Mr. Daniel Heuer. And we have had some fun talking about his entrepreneurial journey so far. But like some entrepreneurs, you come up to a point where, what was working and what you planned on doing for the rest of your life suddenly shifts. Oof, I have goosebumps just saying that because it's happened to me. I had a manufacturing company. We even named part of the company the word legacy. We thought this was a generational company. And then one day, we no longer had a business. It was out of business. So I started a travel company. That'll work. I love to travel. I'll get to travel forever. And 8 months later, COVID hit. So as the saying goes, we make plans, God laughs. And
Yeah.
Daniel's kind of been through that as well. He started with this idea in 2020. AI wasn't really a thing then. AI's really a thing now. How are you shifting and even if you don't mind,
Mm.
tell us your initial thoughts as AI started coming into the marketplace. What did you think? What did you feel? And how have you navigated that since? Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Oh,
Okay. No, it's funny because I've definitely had one or two people asking me why in the world I would do this right now in the age of AI because it has grown, right, to be so powerful and so good. Even 2 years ago when I was started kind of playing around with it a little bit, it was decent, and it was definitely not at a point yet where I felt confident that it could kind of really do the job that it needed to do. I was like, okay, maybe it's not so crazy, but as it's shifted, I mean, it's the new models and everything, and not just ChatGPT. There's plenty of other ones, as you know. It's pretty incredible what they can do. So really, where I'm at is using AI as a tool, of course, because the way things are moving at the speed that they're moving, you really have to. So I definitely use it as a tool as well. One, I use it as kind of a brainstorming partner, which is great to have when you're, the only one at your business. So I think it's helps you generate ideas, helps you kind of, yeah. And it helps you kind of get outside of your own box sometimes. I might have some preconceived things that I want to use for this particular industry or this particular client, but then maybe it kind of gives me something that I can build on again and it can build on that. And so we get to somewhere really incredible. So that's definitely a piece of it. I think shifting the business in terms of, there's so many people that say like, I don't need to hire a writer because I, have chat GPT or whatever it may be, and I can have it write everything for me. And look, they're not wrong at the end of the day, but I think where a copywriter comes in or any kind of messaging strategist comes in is, how do you know what's being put out is good and effective? Like, you need someone with the taste and the experience, and you obviously need to test, but yeah, I think that's where the human aspect is still is true and important. So you're not just slapping whatever comes out onto your website and you're wondering why it might not getting results.
Right. And I think, right now, one of the appeals of maybe purchasing, like 2 days ago, I purchased the Pro plan for Perplexity. If anybody wants a $10 discount, hit me up. But you can, with the Pro version, it does start to learn you. It starts to know your stories. But what I was going to say is, if you're using a free version, first of all, you might be using an old version, not up to date. Some versions of AI that people are out there using, oh, it's free. Yeah, but it doesn't know anything past 2021.
Yeah.
So if you're asking it for, current statistics, you're not going to get them. And so you may want to pay the dollars to get the Pro, but still, it only knows what it knows. And I think a part of good copywriting, isn't it about knowing the person and the personality and really crafting, I use a lot of words in my writing around waves and journey and travel, because all those things are really important to me. If I weren't incorporating them into my Joyminder brand, it really wouldn't be my brand. And I'm not sure that AI can just automatically do that.
Maybe not automatically. Like you said, it does learn you.
Mhm.
And I think things like that, I think over time, hopefully it'll get there. I haven't really done such a long-term study on it myself, but you would think that it would kind of get you. But I think when you're looking at, let's go very specific. Maybe it's a 10 email onboarding journey, just to keep on
Yeah,
theme of that one earlier. Like,
perfect.
one, your prompt needs to be so excellent that each email can work hard and do the job that it needs to do. And then it's like, it's that, are you able to trust the output of the AI model that each email is going to do the absolute best that it can? And that's where I think I'm not sure yet. And that's why I'm hoping that between having a writer and having testing and using AI as a tool, like, I'm not saying don't use it. I think it's the combination that leads to the success that brands really need and are looking for.
Well, and here's another idea. When I owned my manufacturing company, that's when I learned a lot of marketing. That's although I'd been developing websites before then, now social media started becoming a thing, and I had to learn social media and started creating blogs, and I started writing ebooks, and I thought I was brilliant. And then we got big enough that I could hire an assistant, and so I assigned her co- you know, just a assistant who had decent functionality in English. She wasn't a copywriter. I asked her to go through what I'd written, typos, missing punctuation, all sorts of issues. And, I was kind of crushed because I thought I was pretty good. I thought I was pretty brilliant, but I'd put out stuff that really wasn't. Now, AI is not going to probably have errors in punctuation and grammar.
I wouldn't think.
But what I have noticed is it can get its own idea on where it wants to go. And that's where I think a person like you, Daniel, can really step in. Let's say somebody does create a journey. Oh, like me, um, that is AI. But then I tell you, hey, this is what I created, but this is what I intended it to do. Can you evaluate it for me as a human? Can you make sure it doesn't go off track? or that it hits too hard on something that's a minor point while missing the big picture. Because here's the problem. Entrepreneurs get really, really, really busy. And sometimes we create stuff that we don't read.
No, it happens to the best of us. I know how it goes. It's funny, no, I built
We're
kind
all
of a consultancy part of the business just for that, because so many people, they don't need a bunch of stuff written up. They, they have things in place and they just need kind of a little helping hand, a check over, a push in the right direction,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I totally agree. I mean, being an entrepreneur, I once worked at a really small agency. There's probably like 7 of us in the office. And the owner, as hands-on as he tried to be, and he was always out with clients and trying to make things happen, that poor guy, he never slept. He was disorganized just because there's way too much going on. I mean, yeah, I felt bad. It was a stressful time for him. So I can only imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and even to this day, I absolutely try to make sure somebody else has eyes on something before I send it out because no matter what, I'll say though, I sent out an email to a lot of people yesterday that I finished at 3:15, sent myself a copy, made a couple changes, ended up sending it out to everyone at 3:30. And I can almost guarantee if you were to see it, and you probably did,
Nice.
there was probably something in there that wasn't right because I didn't take the time. I don't really have the time. That's an email that should have gone out in the mornings, but it's since at the time of this recording, I've only launched recently this podcast, and so we are, I'm still setting stuff up. Um, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. I think at some point you have to do the best you can, I think, and because it's impossible to be up 24/7 working. So,
Yeah. Well, you said in two, you got to take a break. And now I'm looking forward to taking a break shortly because I have not for a few weeks.
oh,
However, you mentioned that you have some pastimes that are fun, music and soccer and rehabbing your home. But how do you balance work and leisure for yourself? I mean, I don't know if you work out, things like that too. How do you do it?
oh God, that's a great question because I don't know. No, but I mean, it's tough. I mean, I'll tell you right now, my fiance and I don't really see too much of each other because she's also extremely busy. She manages and runs a big brewery. It's awesome. But it's the fact that we're both so busy probably gives us individually a little bit more time to get these things done. But yeah, I mean, it's all day long. I used to have fun in front of the TV and just relaxing. And I mean, once in a while, of course, we get that. But yeah, it's as soon as I wake up on days that I'm lucky, I'll get a workout in. Like right now, I'm putting up a bunch of brackets and shelving in the upstairs room, and I did probably an hour of that before we sat down together. And I'll probably get back up there as well. And then once it gets too hot upstairs, I'll come down. I'll work for, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 hours or something, get something done. And oh gosh, we'll see what the evening brings. I don't even know. It's stressful. It's probably not forever sustainable, and I do need to figure out a healthier way to balance everything. But I'm just trying to get everything in place. And I think once some other things I'm working on are built out, I think I can have a little bit more time as well. So
One thing I've done is my Fitbit, and by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, and you should know, this is also on YouTube. So if you want to come over and just to see who we are. So I'm showing my Fitbit right now. Not that anybody needs to see what a Fitbit looks like, but I do have it. And in 10 minutes before the end of the hour, which it will buzz on my wrist and remind me that I have not taken my 250 steps for the hour. Not only that, but I've set my alarm on my phone so that at 4 minutes to the hour during the day, it rings basically to remind me you've got 4 minutes to get in those 250 steps, and it takes about 2 minutes to do it.
good luck. Yeah, you have to race up.
But the saying goes that sitting is the new smoking. And so
Yeah.
if you do literally, and I can sit for 4, 5, 6 hours without moving if I don't have that reminder to get up and move. But even that little bit of moving, really, it should be every 30 minutes that you're getting up and doing something. It can be squats, it can be a walk around the room, but some sort of movement is super important. I really desperately want to get back to doing martial arts, things like that, that I really enjoy. Oh, yeah, that's my black belt up there.
Oh,
See?
no kidding.
Yeah.
I used to do martial arts myself a long time ago, but
Oh, there you go.
a good
Time to get
time.
back into it. It's so much fun as an adult. It really is.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about mentorship. Who have you had some good mentors in business, or are you just kind of really flying by the seat of your pants?
I mean, a little of both, I would say for sure. I was lucky. The agency that I mentioned that's very small, um, as busy as Andres was, that's his name. We really did because I think also we were so small. We were able to spend a lot of time together, and he definitely threw me into the fire a lot. But kind of watching him interact with clients and build out kind of strategies on how we can build really big things for our clients was just kind of rubbed off, I think, in a lot of ways, maybe without him even trying that hard. But we definitely had a lot of conversations and we spent a lot of time together. So that was definitely helpful. And then the agency right before that actually was also very small. And the owner and I actually became great friends, and we would just hang out and do whatever, really honestly. And he also would instill a lot of values and what it takes to run an agency and things like that. So I did have a bit of a foundation, absolutely. And I think, there's a million online resources as well. I always try to kind of look around and learn what I can and just try things out as well. I think there's a need to just throw stuff at the wall sometimes and see what works. And in
Yeah.
I'm sure you have the same thing in the most random times of your life. You sometimes have a genius idea come and you're like, okay, I need to do something with this immediately. And you write it down so you don't forget. But
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely a combo, definitely both. And I don't know, maybe wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah. That's cool. I think, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that creativity isn't limited to behind you in our again, come over to YouTube, but there's some images, some pictures that are behind you. And creativity isn't limited to those people who can paint or play music even. Creativity, there is a lot of creativity in business. I very much identify as a visionary, where when people start talking, I start seeing where their business could go. I start having actual visions and ideas. They don't have to follow them. Many people don't, but some people do. And probably my biggest joy in life is when people come back and say, "Hey, you gave me this idea 2 years ago, and this is what's happened since." There's nothing better, honestly, for my heart than to hear things like that.
No, I love that. I love that. Yeah, it does make it feel incredible. And I think a mind like yours that kind of just instantly sees like, oh, this could be like this could be like this. It's such a great thing to have, especially an entrepreneur like yourself. I think that's the difference maker. That's what I think makes people successful, that kind of mind. Yeah.
Well, Clifton Strengths Finder is really what identified that for me. You can buy the book for $15. In the back of the book, there's a test you take, and it tells you where your greatest strengths are. And I didn't love my top strength, which is strategic and achiever. It just sounded so pushy to me, but then I am. So, oh wait.
Okay. Oh, well.
But the third one is called, and my fourth and fifth ones are belief and positivity. Those I totally get. That is me all day long, everywhere I go. The third one sounds, again, weird. It kind of like I had a hard time identifying with until I dug in and found out what it is, which is intellection. It's not that I'm like some super brainiac and so smart. It's that I can tie together different things in different ways. Now there's 32 strengths. Those are only 5. That means there's, what's the number? 27 strengths out there that I also have, that everybody has, but in diminishing quantities. And so if you can build your business, ooh, I just had this idea. I'm going to do something with this. Thank you, Daniel. If you can build your business around your strengths, you're probably on the right track.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, that's why, again, I'm doing this even with AI being as powerful as it is, because this is my greatest strength. So I just need to figure out a way to harmonize with it all and work together. So I'm
Well, I have
sure.
a suggestion.
Yes, please.
Ask
Take
AI.
good advice.
No, seriously, ask AI.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's amazing what you can come up with. Just this morning, I had an idea. I have a client I'll be working with tomorrow. And I said, okay, I've had this idea for a long time, but I haven't put this together and I need to put a package together to sell. This is what I have. This is what I'm offering. Give me some price points. It spit out 4 different ideas. So, yeah, collaboratively, you mentioned this earlier. It's great to have a brainstorming partner. But remember that just because you have a brainstorming partner, you're not beholden to use what's created. And ideally, I think, find somebody like you, Daniel, that can really come back and say, look, it's a good idea, but I think it can be better. I think it could be more you. And somebody who can really craft that and help you with it. Maybe help people use AI better to create that and give them some guidance as you learn. This is just a thought there. But for me, that whole strengths piece, I'm going to have to dig into that after this show.
Yeah, yeah, I need to check that out too. But what you just said, it's something that's been on my mind too. How
Oh,
do you use AI like a writer? That's something I'm trying to think
ooh, I
about.
love that.
Yeah, there's something to that, I think. Yeah.
Well, hey, everybody, I'm going to tell you right below here is Daniel's contact information. Mine too. You can find me at leannlyon.com or joyminder.com. Daniel, where do they best find you? Is it LinkedIn, your own website? Go ahead and tell our audience. Then I have one more question for you too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely on LinkedIn, Daniel Heuer, Heuer. And then my website is copyfluent.com, Copyfluent. So I think those are the top two, but I'm really everywhere. I'm a quick search away. You'll find me. I'm not hiding.
And my alarm just went off, reminding me that I'm supposed to stand up and move. I love that generally it doesn't come across. Electronic sounds are not, don't translate onto video, thankfully. But this has been such a pleasurable conversation. Thank you for joining me, Daniel. But I have one more question. We've got, you've done it. You've taken the leap. You've jumped forward. You have your own business. Woo-hoo! No, and you're working hard at it. You're spending a lot of time on it right now. So am I, as things change. But what's the one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is maybe still stuck in the I want to, but I haven't quite done it yet?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, everyone's scenario is different. I mean, my one thing I always say is just do it, freaking do it. Like, I think fear is the biggest thing, or one is just do it. And then two is time is obviously the greatest enemy. Spend an hour every evening, 1 hour, and just do bits and pieces, even if it takes a year to launch. I mean, better doing an hour in the evening than not doing anything at all. So that's what I got.
As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The next best time is right now. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I love your advice. I appreciate it for sure. You'll never be ready. I don't believe at this time you're a parent. I am. You'll never be ready. You can't be. I know, even when I was preparing because I was pregnant and I knew I was going to become a parent, you can't prepare fully. And I think it's the same for entrepreneurship. Once you give birth to that business, it's going to take on a life of its own. You'll never be ready, but you can work at it. You can prepare for it in many, many ways. Speaking with somebody like Daniel or myself could really help. So once again, Daniel, thank you. Any final words before we say goodbye to our audience?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun. We're really glad we got to chat and get a little bit of the message out there to the people. And again, anyone who's going to start something, I wish you the best of luck as well. I'm sure LeAnn does as well. And I think that's all we got. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. for joining us, audience, as well on the show, Beyond the Business Plan, to unleash your joyful business potential. And remember, entrepreneurship is a voyage you can take with other people. So find your tribe for the journey. And by the way, they're not necessarily your friends and family. Sometimes they don't want you to change or want you to jump into something because they don't know where they'll stand with you if you make a change that's calling to your heart. Reassure them, love them, but they may not be your tribe. So find your tribe. Come on over to Joyminder Solutions. We've got our summit, which is called the Restart Your Business Summit. We have a whole Facebook page around that. We've got a Facebook page for Beyond the Business Plan. Come on in and collaborate with other people. Find the people that maybe you want to run with. And then give us a like or a subscribe or whatever you do on your favorite podcast or video platform. And then keep shining and aligning with your purpose and with Joyminder Solutions. Then come on back every week for our new inspiring episodes. And until that time, I'm LeAnn, Lyon.com, your Chief Joy Officer, signing off. Keep spreading the joy, keep leading with heart, and I will catch you on the next wave of success. Hey, coffee aficionados and entrepreneurs, LeAnn Lyon here. Are you craving that caffeine kick, but looking for a healthier alternative? Well, 9 years ago, I discovered the ultimate collection of energizing options to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit without the jitters. Discover your next favorite pick-me-up today and keep your business dreams brewing strong. Hear what it did for me by visiting this website, whyilovemycoffee.com. Yes, that's the URL, whyilovemycoffee.com, because your peak performance deserves more than just another cup of joe.
Thank you all for joining us today on Beyond the Business Plan. It's been a joy and a privilege to share this space with you. For more inspiring stories, tools, and actionable insights, make sure to follow us on your favorite video platform. Visit my website, LeAnnLyon.com, and keep leading with heart. And I'll catch you on the next wave of success.